Okay, what's up, everybody? It's Flux of FluxWithIt.com and the Producers Hangout. We are live. This is episode 23, and I'm going to invite you to meet some new individuals here. First, what I want to do is I'm going to introduce, of course, we have Silent Cypher, Mike, from PadBangers.com. Why don't you say hello, Mike?
What's up, guys?
And returning with us once again, we have Upright. That's Bryce. You can find him over at soundcloud.com/upright. How you doing, Bryce?
How's it going? Doing good. Doing real good. Just woke up, but it's all good.
All right. And then we've got the architect, Mike Vandenberg, over here. How you doing, Mike? This is first time on the show, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, my name is Mike Brandenburg. I go by the name of the Architect. I am 24 years old, living in North Carolina by way of New York City. Make boom bap. Got a family over for the weekend, so this is my definite escape for a couple hours. Looking forward to this.
Okay, and then we've got Roy over here. And Roy, this is your first time on the show as well. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, whoa, been a minute. How you doing, guys? Oh, my name is Roy, aka Dark Joint, aka Roy the Dark Disciple. Been a veteran in the UK hip hop scene for, I don't know, going 20 years now.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, been in the game for a minute.
UK, that's it.
Yeah, based in London,
right?
UK. No, that's London, United Kingdom, Great Britain.
LDN.
Represent all day, every day.
So, again,
yeah, LDN. You know what?
So we've got a worldwide show again today. We've got Mike in Germany. We've got Roy over in the UK. We've got Architect over in North Carolina. We got Bryce in California, and then you got me on the other coast over here in Delaware. So.
Well, you know, next time that we do this, I'll be on the West Coast as well.
Nice.
This is my last month being on this side for a hot minute.
Good. Everybody's traveling around, having a good time. So this week we wanted to get into tips on basically ways to get around. Tips and tricks in the studio, ways to do things on a budget. I kind of posted a thread in the Producers Hangout Facebook group, kind of referring to some easy to do tips and tricks, and I wanted to talk to you guys about what things you've picked up over the years, maybe some different ideas that you do. Everybody's heard of using say pantyhose and a coat hanger to make a pop filter if your pop is broken. How about you, Architect? Is there anything that comes to mind just off the top of the head of anything that maybe you've done to where you save some money?
eBay.
Doing something. Oh, eBay.
eBay. There is a phenomenal microphone section in eBay that very few people know of. In fact, there's a user who I have been thinking about for the last 15 minutes trying to remember his name, where he actually will take, let's say, a vintage 60s German condenser mic, one that retails for, let's say $10,000, and we'll take those same components and put it, and you can buy them for $200. You can get this really incredible sound mic for pennies on the dollar, pretty much. Everybody knows the milk carton thing. I personally like using homemade items, if I'll take a giant stock can and use that as a tom, because those have a nice bright timbre that you can, if recording, you can condense and filter. It becomes a nice pop sound to it, which is good for a mid-range tom. Just for example.
Yeah, I want to expand on the egg carton thing as well, because one of the main things that you'll hear about when people badmouth the do-it-yourself ways of doing sound treatment, especially when it comes to basically trying to get past, like the Orlex style stuff, where you're dealing with 1-inch pyramids, 2-inch pyramids, things of that nature, for which is primarily for high frequency reflections, high and mid-range frequency reflections. A lot of the times you'll hear negative comments about using things like mattress foam to do that, and a lot of the comments about that are about the fact that it's not dense enough. So studio foam is very, very dense, and it helps to absorb reflections and keep them trapped in, as opposed to sending them back out to you. And then, of course, the angle of it.
What about the memory foam pads that, I can see my bed here in the background, and I'm just thinking about back in my college days having those memory foam pads you buy for $100.
Yeah.
What if you strip those out? Because that's actually thicker
than... Well, what I found is that so memory foam pads, if you slice that up, that's fairly expensive. But what you can do is you can go to any major department store and you can get standard mattress foam, and then what you do is dump paint across it and let it dry, right? You can use spray paint, but you have to do multiple coats. If you have like a latex coated paint or like a dense paint, or you can do caulking and spread that across it as well. You want to make sure you keep your ridges in it, but basically if you soak that up and let it dry, it adds a lot of density to the foam. So I use that from time to time. Let's say I want to treat a space for a limited amount of time. Like, I'm not taking Orlex and treating every space that I record in, because I tend to record in a lot of different spaces, especially if I'm doing on-site recordings. But if you get this mattress foam, you can roll it out, throw paint on it, let it dry. It might take a day or two to dry, and then once it's dried up, cut it into the strips that you need, and then bring it with you. Another great aspect of that is if you take corkboard that you can get at like Home Depot or any department store, like Home Fix-It-Up store, you can get thick corkboard and glue it to the corkboard, and then you can hang those sheets of corkboard along with the with those foam pieces, and you'll have the density and the depth, and it'll also prevent a lot of the vibration, because sometimes people say just put it to drywall and then hang the drywall, but if you do that, then a lot of the times you'll get drywall on drywall vibrating when bass frequencies hit.
You don't want that.
Yeah, so if you use corkboard, and sometimes if it's really bad, you can do corkboard, and you can get these little rubber stoppers, like little rubber sticky pads, and just put those on the back of it as well. And it really will absorb a lot of the reflections. So that's one way I handle that. But you were talking about the egg cartons, and another great thing to do with those is those you can get spray foam, and you don't need a lot of it. Just for each egg carton, what you do is you fill it with spray foam, and that'll actually make a huge difference in how much it absorbs.
I actually don't use the egg cartons. That's just one. I've been
into a couple of studios where people use it, and it can work.
It does, because my big thing about the egg cartons, and especially the Orlex stuff, is as much as as well as it works, it's ugly. Mm-hmm. So I tend to find stuff that's a little bit more visually appealing.
Absolutely.
Because we're talking about the best way to ball on a budget, but the best way to get a recording is to have a good mood and good vibe.
I absolutely agree. I'm more referring to this is usually in a lot of the times I'll do recordings in garages, and live spaces. So a lot of the times if I'm on the go, yeah, man, I'll hang them things up, and so the most recent example was about, I guess it was about 3 weeks ago. I did recordings of metal boxes, like sheet metal boxes that were cut to different sizes and then cut with different size holes, so that I could get tuned metal recordings.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, so this is going to be for an upcoming sound pack that I'm doing. But so I got all these sheet metal boxes, and then I tuned them by cutting different holes in them. But I wanted the sound of the room, but there was a metal door in the room that I didn't want the reflection from, so I took those pieces and I just mounted it right to the metal door to get rid of those reflections.
That's pretty good.
So, Bryce, Mr. Upright,
Yes, sir.
have you come across any tips to save you money? And this is, I'm asking you, but I'm asking you with a slanted eye because I see the Pro 2 in the background.
Well, when it comes to like that kind of stuff, I guess the only thing I've done is I've used chains like recording chains. I have a couple chains over here, keys and stuff like that. I haven't really I haven't done the pantyhose thing, but I have a pop filter, so I can see how that that would totally work. And actually, I do have some foam. Like I have the RLX stuff. I have some of that stuff. But then I have some stuff that I got out of like a shipping box, and it kind of looks like egg foam, but it's really close to the RLX, but it's not. It's definitely not the same density, So I'll use that. I have some of that up. I mainly have RLX, but behind me you can see some of that stuff up behind my monitors. That's just like stuff I got in a shipping package. So. It works, not as good as RLX, but it does it does provide a little bit of dampening. Like mainly everything that goes on in my studio for dampening is done by RLX, but I have some of that stuff up just to catch little things here and there. But other than that, I haven't really done anything besides recording chains and weird knocking sounds from a desk or something like that. But yeah. But a friend of ours, I'm not going to throw him under the bus.
Okay.
But you probably know who I'm talking about. He just got and this goes back to eBay. He just got like a Glockenspiel. Am I saying that right?
Sure.
Yeah. So he just got one of those off eBay for like $30, and so like eBay is a place for getting like weird little percussion, stuff like that. So he just picked up one of those, and I'm like, wow, I need to get one of those because it sounds amazing when you record it through like just the SM57 or something like that.
Sure.
That thing sounds awesome. Yeah. So.
I got the reason I brought up the reason I brought up eBay was because I think Ken will remember this, is that I actually posted a photo on eBay on the Producers Hangout of my reel-to-reel tape machine that I got around Thanksgiving time, and that was I think like $120 altogether, from machine to tape to heads.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was talking. It was like I think like the Slate virtual tape machine's like $300.
Yeah.
So effectively, I got the real thing for a fraction of the price.
Now, can you run audio through that and then back into like? Are you recording
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can. That's what I'm doing it for.
That's awesome.
It helps that I have the high-end Sapphire, the 24, which I can just quickly run through Logic and have it bounce right back in and out.
Okay, so you run an output to the tape machine, and then from the tape machine back in.
Into the input of the tape machine, and the output of the tape machine into an input of the audio interface.
Nice.
I'm running a circle. Just running a loop.
Yep. And it was funny because he posted that one. I have the exact same one, except you have the rare black version of it.
I do have the rare black one. It's actually right next to me right here.
So that was pretty cool. And but yeah, absolutely. eBay is such a wonderful spot. And to Bryce's point about the packing material, I will say that a lot of the solutions for sound and studio, a lot of them seem to come down to aesthetic as far as why the price points are what they are. Because you can get, for instance, monitor pads, isolation monitor pads.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend a lot of money on isolation pads when the exact same materials exist in the industrial world for things like HVAC and refrigeration to stop those motors from vibrating through commercial buildings.
Totally.
In fact, let me grab this right quick, and I'll show you something. I'm gonna see if I can do this with. One of the pads that my monitors actually sit on, these are isolation pads. These are commercial isolation pads, and
wow,
it's a thick rubber, a thick cork, and then a thick rubber, and then underneath of that I have another foam pad underneath of that as well. That's a very, very dense foam as well. But it's the exact same materials that if you stripped apart some of the higher end monitor isolation pads, if you stripped off the pretty coating, that's what they look like. So, you know, sometimes you have to think like, well, our industry is not the only industry that deals with vibration, you know?
Right.
That also goes for, you know, foam insulation for not sound treatment, but soundproofing. When you're trying to deaden bass waves, some of the best places that you can look for deadening bass waves is the industrial world, because they're dealing with large chillers for hospitals and things of that nature where they need it quiet, but they have these massive machines in there, so they have to deaden the sound. So if you go online and look for industrial isolation or industrial soundproofing, you'll find much, much cheaper pricing and you know, very, very high quality solutions. So I highly recommend checking that out.
Yep,
How
definitely.
about you, Roy? Anything that you've done that you find that you save money doing?
Oh yeah. I had to move my studio several times when I moved to where I'm living now in Dagenham. Initially, I used to live in Canning Town, which was sort of like in a flat. It was like 23 floors up. So setting up any form of isolation booth wasn't quite working out. So when I moved down here to Dagenham, I have a little tiny box room, which is where I do all my music. So we were experimenting, and the sad thing is that although the room is small, but it's a perfect square, which is not the place where you want to make music.
Mm-hmm.
So what we had to do sort of like some form of sound isolation, at the back of the door, I just got me a standard curtain rail, and what we did was we experiment with different curtains, and we noticed that heavy curtains kind of deaden the sound, and we used that with the mic, the SC mic filter thing, and that seemed to work.
The reflection filter.
Yeah, reflection filter, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
works. But then we moved from like your standard what do you call it, living room heavy curtain. Then we even tried shower curtain, and each of those give different reflection.
Sure.
So experiment for the context within the room, and that kind of worked.
No, I've heard
of
rugs being used. I've never heard of a curtain. That's a good tip right there.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper than a curtain. Cheaper than
oh yeah. And the thing is, you can change it.
Yeah.
They're cheap.
Yeah, I say one time I had to I was recording this guy, and dude is an amazing singer, but he's huge. I mean, this guy is a large mass individual, and just fitting him in the vocal booth alone was not comfortable. So I actually put him in the live room, and then to set up some reflection deadening directly around the mic. Reflection filters are great, but what I had was a 30-gallon bucket that was cut in half and then lined with a bit of spray foam and then lined with Oralex inside of it. And that was placed directly around the mic, and it was large. I mean, it was like this big, so it just kind of went like right in front of his face to kind of catch everything around there, and it went so far around that, you know, it would stop any kind of side reflections because again, it was in the live room. So we set that up, and then I had a couple of small portable walls that you can get for cubicles that we set around that. But the bucket is what really helped out. By lining that bucket with Oralex and spray foam, it made a night and day difference. And I made a stand to hold it and to hold like thick matting all out of PVC, because PVC is just so easy to work with. I mean, you just get a couple of cutters, you cut it, some elbows, stick it together, and you're done. Didn't even really have to glue anything. So it was just a simple, easy way to record this guy. And, you know, like I said, like we could have fit him in the vocal booth, but it was difficult for him to maneuver through the studio, you know, being as large as he was. So It worked out really well though, and got some great recordings out of it. His voice is phenomenal on it. Plus, you can tell that he sounds more relaxed, and just he was just far more comfortable during those takes than the other takes. So it was really really useful. How about you, Mike? Have you done anything out there that you're
Yeah,
happy with?
actually, we did a similar thing than you did. So we built our own mic screen. You know, just like you said, you have the foam going like around the microphone, but we used a magic arm from photography equipment, which
Ah,
is like you know those magic arms, and we used two super clamps to mount it to the microphone. So we had like a mic shield for about $30 instead of spending 150 on a good professional one, and it did a really good job. Another thing is what we build, kind of a mobile vocal booth. So we used styrofoam and glued the styrofoam together until we had huge walls. We put the foam on the styrofoam and put it on that how are these things called? Those like those are like woods with rolls on. You can put flower pots on that things to move them around for heavy flower pots and stuff like that. And you can put the styrofoam on top of that, so you have like rolling studio walls you can move around to isolate
Oh
different stuff.
wow, wow.
that sounds
And
nice.
these things cost you about $25 each, so really really cheap. And the styrofoam is extreme cheap. But when you put the foam on it, it gets really sturdy, so it's really nice to work with them. What else here? My isolation comes also from the industrial part. I don't know if you guys can see this right above the keyboards. There's one of the reflectors or absorbers I built, and there's rock wool inside. So
Oh,
this is
nice.
material for isolating roofs and stuff. So those are pretty cheap and do an extremely good job in here.
And then what's that?
Um,
What's that right behind you? Like, is that like some of the stuff that comes in like boxes? That
oh no, these are actually this is real
oh,
studio
that's
code,
real.
but
Okay, okay.
yeah, but actually it's just hanging there because I don't have a nice poster to
Oh,
put there,
oh.
so it doesn't have any
You
effect.
gotta make do.
I'll
It
tell
looks
you
like
another
it looks like
problem.
the stuff I got out the shipping packages. It looks real.
Actually, that's a nice tip. I got this right here, and but I'm not using it for audio isolation. But they work really good to isolate external hard disks. So if you
Okay,
have external
that
hard
that's
disk
the
that is
stuff
a
I
little
have right
bit
now.
louder, you just put it on the foam and it takes away all the vibrations from it. So
And I do want to say I'm not taking away from Orlex because I do support Orlex. I do like their products quite a lot. But you don't always have to use them. They come in handy for certain items, but you don't always have to use them. Another thing that I'll talk about is so I have the Intro to Eurorack series, and in it I was talking about how you don't always have to use expensive racks to hold your equipment. And the other day I built a rack for my sequencer because this sequencer I could actually build off of 9-volt power source. So
Hmm.
I did, and I'll turn it on so you can see that I'm not bullshitting.
Wow.
So yeah, it's and I cut the box at an angle so that it's at a nice angle to use it on.
What is
And
that box? Is that just cardboard?
this is literally the shipping box that it comes in.
Wow, man.
So I just cut the cardboard to the proper size hole and taped it up real well, and then I
Oh
went ahead
wow,
and cut the bottom, and there you
that's
go.
nice, man.
And
So
that's proper DIY.
Yeah,
so
that's real DIY right there.
yeah, and this is just to tide me over because I'm actually in the middle of building some really really nice wooden cases. But I'm building another module very shortly, and I was going to run out of rack space, so I said, hey, I can power this off of a separate power source. Why
Nice.
not get it out of my rack and do that? But that being said, I'll also say that a major source of saving money can be do-it-yourself building of gear. So everything from building your own building your own filters and modules and guitar pedals and that sort of stuff saves a ton of money. Like this is on my website, I got the Synth DIY project. This is the culmination of that project where I'm teaching people how to build their own gear. So
and I am one of the students of that, if I were to interrupt you there.
Sure.
I have to blame for a lot of nights that I've got coming up in the next, probably month or so. I think a few of you guys know that I'm using Harrison Mixbus as a DAW from the website.
Nice.
And one of my friends said to me, a friend of his got himself a Harrison mixer that he would like to get rid of because he's just getting out of the game.
Nice.
So I said, yeah, the only thing though with those Harrison mixers, they were made in the 70s and the 80s, and although they're quite nice, reliability and you have to change everything, it's like, well, mate, you'd have to do DIY. So I thought of Ken there. It's like, okay, I've got Ken to put me through it. Let me see if I can show you the mixer. Can you see that?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now that is a Harrison SP2000. It was initially designed as a DJ stroke broadcast type mixer, and
nice.
I run it. It sounds nice, but it's got to be a crackling pot. So Ken is responsible for me picking up the soldering iron. That baby for the next couple of weeks.
That sounds like we're gonna have some fun with that.
Yeah, that thing looks awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, like building your own gear. Now I will say that when you get into something like building your own gear, if you're doing it just to save money, you need to first kind of get some very basic circuits done to kind of just get familiar with the general idea of what you're going to be doing as far as soldering and that kind of thing is. Get some like $12 circuits or whatever just to get used to it so that you're not buying expensive components and then ruining them, because then you're just wasting money. So, I mean, there's definitely something to be said for paying for quality work of others.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But as with anything, learning is invaluable. So when you learn and you can do these things yourself, you end up being able to do a ton. Like I've built just about half of my Euro rack, and I'll be building more. I've got the wonderful this guy right here. Now these some gear you can't even really buy without building it yourself. Like for instance the Orgon accumulator. This is the circuit board here. You can't buy them already built. At least not that I've found. And if you did, they would rightfully so be, $400 or $500. And it's an extremely excellent sounding unit. I've already built one. I'm building a second one now, and I think the build cost comes to maybe like $200 or $225, something like that. Well worth it. So building your own gear. Yamaha makes the sub kick drum mic. That's a very, very easy do-it-yourself build, just taking an 8 or 6 inch monitor cone and reversing the wires. What I like to do is I cut an XLR wire that I'm not using anymore. Say you've got a bad mic cable and you know where it's bad at. Cut that cable, add a 100K resistor on there, and connect it reverse to the speaker, and it will record low frequency sounds. So you can use things like that, and again use something like PVC or even a snare drum stand to mount it and record that way. So that's super easy ways of just saving money and getting awesome.
My next project is actually going to be building my own studio desk rather than kind of putting everything on. Just
now, are you looking to do? Are you going to be building your own preamps, or are you going to be looking to do like 500 series, or how are you looking to go about it?
I'm just going to be buying 500 series stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the who is it? Purple Circuit or Purple Audio, whatever they are. They have a great console with where you can. Yeah. I would love to have something like an API box or one of those, and I've been
like a little lunchbox
to stay away from it. But
That sounds real pricey, and that's what I'm looking to do with this little mixer that I've got. The whole idea is to use that summing amp because
sure,
it's only got
Right.
like channels, but run it through the. It's got some really nice preamps.
yeah,
So just finish up on there and then summed up on there. Because I got another custom made. Well, it's not custom made to be honest. It's sort of like it was. It's sort of like a summing amp that I bought, but although it's got a tube drive in it, I'm not quite happy with the way it delivers. So I thought, nah. When the opportunity came up with the Harrison, when I ran the stuff through it, it sounds like a big boy dollar console. So these things are out there. So eBay is a very good resource for you to check
Yeah,
out.
eBay is a great resource.
and have you looked into modifications on that as well? Because that's another really useful tip is search out modifications on cheaper gear as well. You know, everything from very simple things like switching tubes to a lot of the times you can actually change out preamps. Very minor. Right now there is, you know, it's really cool the age that we live in with the internet because geeks can be fully indulged in their full geekhood. So you see like all these really interesting niches pop up, and one of them right now is these guys who are doing a lot of do-it-yourself and super boutique preamps that are interchangeable. For instance, the Warm Audio TB12 uses this a style preamp that you can the op amps, excuse me, that you can pop in and out. And a lot of people build these on different forums. So if you look them up, you can find lots of different swappable op amps to put into
Oh yeah.
preamps and compressors that are really cool. I mean, there's really no getting around the fact that transformers are going to be expensive because they're a heavy lot of metal piece. But changing out transformers and capacitors can make a world of difference in a cheaper piece of equipment, you know?
Fellas, I have to be back in 2 minutes. I have something for my family you got to deal with.
Yep. So one thing that I've seen is, like Mike was talking about earlier as far as parts for microphones, if you're looking for a boutique mic, you don't always have to buy like a Neumann or something. You can go and get like Octava mods, JJ mods, there's lots of different modifying companies to where if you're not comfortable doing the modifications yourself, you can have other people do them for you, and you still end up spending less than you would spend. You know, you can get the equivalent of like a $2,000 microphone for about $500 by going to these smaller boutique guys that are kind of doing it either as a full-time gig or even a part-time gig. But you know, that's definitely, you know, when you get into there's ribbon mics right now are cheap and prevalent, whereas they used to not be. But the quality of the ribbons aren't always, you know, what you might want. So you can pay these guys to put in new ribbons, properly calibrate and tighten them, things of that nature. So definitely worth looking into. Modified gear is a wonderful aspect that really wasn't nearly as prevalent as it is today. If you just search not just eBay, but you know, search the forums online, see who's using what. There's a lot of really well-respected modifiers out there. I know that who was it? Was it Mike that has the Art MPA, or no, Casey I think has it. And I know that there's a lot of really cool modifications for that are out there that basically take that item and, you know, with $100 worth of parts, put it into a whole nother tier of piece of equipment. And this is like mass-produced equipment that you're now adding boutique parts to take it to the next level.
Wow.
How about Bryce?
I'm sorry.
I was going to ask Bryce. You know, he uses his modular a lot for hip hop music, and I was wondering, even though modular can be expensive, or do you find yourself maybe spending less money by processing through your modular than if you were to buy separate rack gear?
You know, I don't really use the modular for processing audio. That's something I need to start doing, but because there's a lot of great filters and things that I have in my system that I can use for processing. But 9 times out of 10, I'm just trying to move so fast and keep things flowing, I never really think, okay, let me run this out. That's something I want to do. Like when you guys mentioned the 500 series, that's something I've thought about too, like getting into like a little small lunchbox or something like that. But no, I haven't really experimented with that yet.
Sure, sure. I will say a small tidbit about 500 series. One of the things that prevents me from going 500, I would like to do it more for the fact that I'm very mobile and I'm often recording in other places. So for that reason, I want to go 500. But you can also save a lot of money by, again, going and looking at used racks and just rack gear as a whole. You can tend to save a lot of money. A lot of the same equipment is available as a rack unit. The benefit to rack units is that each unit has its own power supply, so you don't have to worry about. Whereas if you have a 500 series rack, you can over extenuate how much power you're using inside of that rack because they're all sharing the same power source. You can also come into issues of lopsided power, and you have to be careful about that. Whereas when you're using rack equipment, each thing has its own power supply. So a lot of the time you can save money by actually going with a larger format rack piece of equipment as opposed to what everybody's jumping towards now, which is the 500 series. The drawback, of course, is that 500 series is it has such a nice form factor and it's so portable. So you have to kind of weigh the pros and cons on that. And of course, there are certain 500 series racks that handle power better than others. You know, like you look at the Radical units. I mean, those are fantastic. But you pay for it as well. You know, you got to pay for that really good power supply. Anybody have anything else to add?
Yeah, actually, I have a. Let me see. Let me see if I can share my screen really quick. See here. Whoa. Can you guys see that?
No, I see. Oh, wait. Yes, I can now. Yes.
You see that picture?
Yep, no, I can't.
Okay, so I actually built a custom stand for push. So this is what it looks like. Yeah, I just grabbed a bunch of wood, and I don't know if you can see these little black like feet, I guess. Yeah, the rubber. So what I did was, and this is crazy because if you drive down you can just drive down the road at any point and you see diesel tires that have they've had blowouts, blowout, the diesel tire blowout. So I grabbed a chunk of diesel tire off the road and just made little feet for this, and nailed them on this board, and then so this is what it looks like, just some old wood that I got out my garage. And it works as a stand for push, and it's solid. It is really solid, and it works great.
And, it's the pushes that'll have you control it too.
Right.
So that's interesting. I'll show you a stand that I built that is a little bit different.
Okay.
This is
push is really heavy. Yeah,
push got some weight to it. Yeah.
It does, and that stand works good. It's right there behind me. I don't know if you guys can see it.
I have a push myself, and I haven't felt like getting anything into a stand like this. It is so heavy.
It is heavy. Yep.
It almost, I mean, getting like your standard snare drum thing just seems like too much for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a good idea.
Yeah, that stand. I mean, it literally took me 10 minutes to build it, and it is solid. It's solid, and I have the same rubber feet underneath it, so it just sits on my desk and it works great. It doesn't move a bit.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks good.
Yeah.
The so I because I'm moving around so much, I'm constantly plugging and unplugging from this mixer, and I use it as a routing station as well. So I got these metal brackets, right, and I mounted them to my desk. They're just L brackets.
Oh, wow, I see that. Okay, yep.
And then mounted it up, and then I put rubber on the ends to kind of keep it, and then I put little hangers here, little L brackets here as well.
Oh, yeah.
So that I can use this as just a little patch bay, and that holds this at an angle.
Right.
So that I can get right into patching and unpatching when I'm on the go or when I want to get in here and just hurry up and patch something up. I can do that, and then everything this is completely passive, so it just sends right out, and then I can patch right into the modular, and jump right into it. So, that stuff is all super easy. And
Wow.
Craigslist is another one as well. Like, so you got eBay, and then of course Craigslist. And when you're on Craigslist, large equipment that you would not want to ship, like a Rhodes Stage 88. Like, this is a full, like, yes, I know I have a bunch of stuff on it right now, and I really need to clean it all. But I've been building equipment lately and testing out some different mics, so it's a mess. But
The problem with Craigslist is
But-
if you're not in a large market, you're not as good to have enough. You're not as bound to have as good results.
that is true. Like, so when I'm on Craigslist, I'm usually looking. I'm not far
Really?
from Philadelphia.
Yeah, because for me, like going to New York, the New York Craigslist is like millions of pages.
Yeah.
Going down to North Carolina one, I can't find a damn thing music related.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. The thing that I have found, so I live in Delaware, which is about 25 to 30 minutes outside of Center City, Philly, and it's really spotty. It's like hit or miss. Like, usually it's mostly just guitars and drums, but at the same time it's great for drums. You can get a full drum kit for $50 off of Craigslist
Wow.
half the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always looking on there, but when I'm looking for something more specific that I know is more like music technology related or more niche, then yeah, I'm going to the Philly one and looking on there, and also using the search function on it too. Much like forums, a lot of people don't seem to use the search functions, and if you use the search function, you'll find things so much faster. I actually had I was this close to getting a Akai Axe 60 the other day, but somebody just beat me to it. So that's a classic analog sound. That's another thing is one really like super nerdy thing that I do is and really hoarderish thing that I do, because I'm a pack rat. So I have magazines from like 1998. From when of music magazines like Future Music and EQ and Sound on Sound, and I will go through my old like late 90s, early 2000s stack of magazines and read and like find the equipment that I didn't buy or whatever, and look at it and say, oh well, this sounds like it's actually pretty cool. And now that it's 20 years later, you can go on eBay and find that stuff for so much cheaper. It's stuff
I do that as well.
About.
I do that, especially with Sound and Sound.
Yeah.
You can find an MPC 2000 XL on eBay for $250 with all 8 outs. Perfect working condition.
And see, that's ridiculous. I mean, those are ridiculous prices for perfectly usable, perfectly good gear. And if you're looking for something to kind of step you outside of the regular plug-in domain, a lot of people just want to try a different workflow. Then you go on eBay and you find something like an ASRX Pro, for $250, and next thing
that's why I got my reel-to-reel.
Exactly.
That's exactly why I got my reel-to-reel. Take yourself out of the digital element, add yourself into the analog.
Another thing that just came to my mind is you showed your patch bay. I think a patch bay is a great low-budget tip as well. A friend of mine just bought another audio interface the other day just because he were running out of inputs. And he doesn't need all these inputs to record the stuff simultaneously. He was just sick of plugging cables in and out from his different gear. So instead of buying a new interface, he could have bought just a patch bay for about $50 new or $20 used, and he would be good to go. So
yeah, and that's another thing is that patch bays save you money not just on the usability functions of it, but also the fact that plugging and unplugging gear destroys your gear over time. So if you can avoid plugging and unplugging your gear, avoid it. I mean, these connections can't be plugged in and out of infinite amount of times. I mean, there's a finite number times before it's gonna break. You know,
Mhm.
so you just got to be aware of that. And then that also gets back into being able to solder a little bit. You know, because if you can solder something simple like a cable or a connection, it can save you a lot of money and a lot of headaches. You know, a lot of the times you'll find things like older analog polysynths and even some of the digital synths that just have like bad batteries in them. You know, you can take out the battery and you can replace the battery. As long as it hasn't leaked and corroded the circuit board, it's a really easy fix. So I say that we had a good show today. I'm gonna thank everybody for coming on. I'll start with Bryce because Bryce has been fairly he's kind of like the abominable snowman in hip hop right now. So you got anything you want to promote, Bryce? You got anything you've been working on?
um, um, I just did some stuff with Cold Busted Records.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Trying to think. I don't know. It's under the the title of the it's a compilation with a whole bunch of just dope guys on it, man. It's called It's What You Make It. So IWYMI. That's what if you go on Cold Busted Records, it's right up there. So I have a track on I think the last 4 or 5 of those compilations. So really dope guys on there. Dope. Everybody on there is really well represented. They're
Yeah, Cold Busted was one of the few out collectives that really helped me out back in the day.
yeah, they're awesome. They're really dope. So that's about it for me. I just been laying low and got some things going on in my life with a new lady friend. So seeing how that goes. Yeah, thank you. So yeah. Other than that, yeah, nothing. I'm going to NAMM next week, so I'll be there, and you should be there, Ken. But I know you have a new baby, so I know. Yeah, but really hype.
You know, if he wants to pay for my ticket, I can go for him.
Yeah.
I'll give you a pass, but I'm not paying for any tickets.
I mean,
Yeah, so-
listen, if I'm gonna be, I gotta get the whole package.
Yeah.
You gotta pay for the, I just gotta give you a credit card number, then we can know that we're out.
Yeah, I feel you. No, but yeah, I'll be there next week, and I'm really excited about that. You know, and a lot of new stuff. Though, I'm kind of curious in those Akai keyboards, so I want to check those out. Not that I have the space for them, but I do want to see what those are all about. So.
Yeah,
Let me know if they have a new MV. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That's what we all look for every year.
Yes.
Rumors that there's going to be a new MV.
Totally.
We'll run straight to the Roland booth.
Yep.
There's nothing but an organ.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Of all the people here, Ken, you're the one who knows about my obsession with MV the most.
Dude, listen, me too, man. I'm right there with you. I think the MV was a great piece of equipment, and it was redone in a new, fresh way.
Oh, yeah, it could be really, yeah.
I would be all for it. Roland
Totally.
was always one of those companies that when it came to sampling and sequencing, that always kind of confused me because they always would do like really cool tricks with sampling, but then their sequencing would make me want to put my fist through a wall. So it's like, but the MV was like the MV was the bomb. Like, so it was so. It was so there and so not there at the same time. It was interesting, but yeah. So every year we run to Roland, and it's
a not computer necessary 1.1 machine. Think about it like that.
Do you have an MV, Michael?
I wish I did, but I had a chance to buy an 8800 or a Mark I machine, and I went with the machine and met Ken, and the rest is history.
Yeah, definitely. I hear you.
I've known Ken since the 3rd month after the machine came out.
Oh, okay.
I will say one thing about Roland though, and their NAMM performances is that I think that they have kind of strewn out all the line that they have, and they're at the end of that line, and people are just like, you got to do something because you got rid of the V-Synth. That's no longer supported. That was your best synthesizer. The Jupiter series really wasn't that well accepted, the newer Jupiters. And
Hey man, they had the
So
Junos.
they're at a point where they need to do something innovative or else.
They had the. I mean, if you want to do anything, there's a reason that the SH201 is still in production though, and that's been 10 years. You know, that's been 10 years out.
SH201, I'm going to say this on camera so everybody knows how I feel about it. SH201 is one of the worst synthesizers I've ever played.
I'm not saying it's a good synth, but for somebody who's trying to get into. Yeah, no, I didn't say it was.
It ranks up there with the audio Venom. It's terrible.
But think about what the SH201 does for somebody who's like, you know, let's say 18 years old, got $300 to spare, wants to get a synthesizers.
Well, here's what I will say. Here's what I will say about it. I will say that I don't believe that it was designed for actual studio musicians by any way, shape, or form.
No, it's a learning tool.
I believe that, exactly, it's a learning tool to show you what a synthesizer layout typically is. But if you turn a cutoff knob on that thing, you will hate life because all you hear is nasty digital stepping, and it just sounds like trash. The thing feels hollow as hell. Like it's a terrible sound.
Well, I think we've all been in Guitar Center. I think we all know what it sounds like.
Well, I owned one, so I owned one, and I can tell you that it was horrible. And same with the Venom. But let me stop saying negative things. I'm sorry, Roland and M Audio. I want you both to be happy. Just stop putting out crappy products, and I won't say that kind of stuff. But I will say that you know, Roland is at a point now where they have to do something big because the only people seem to care about right now is Korg. Behringer of all people, you know, and so it's like they got to do something. I could see Yamaha celebrating its anniversary of synths, so I could see them coming out with a really cool synth soon.
Right.
And they're about due as well, so you know it's.
The only thing I want is just a new MV. Doesn't even be by Roland, just that concept of being the whole dedicated software, dedicated sampler that's not necessarily tied to a computer.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal concept.
I think everybody's been saying that for about 5 years now, so it would be really interesting to see them do basically a computer in a box that you could take with you that is, you know, something that operates like Machine or the MPC Ren, but you can also take it with you. I think a lot of people
speaking of eBay, you know, and I will admit that I am slightly addicted to eBay. I get almost everything music related. I mean, I even dig on eBay. eBay is the greatest vinyl collection spot you can ever find. If you want to fork out the dough of having
vinyl on there myself, so
if you're willing to fork out the extra amount of dough, it's the greatest site to buy vinyl.
I will say this: it's really great for people that are not in a major area. But what I don't like about searching for vinyl over the internet is really. Shipping and how the vinyl is handled is never something that you can.
That's why. Well, the thing is there's a one particular. Oh, back what I was saying was you can buy an 8800 on eBay now for like $500.
Yep, and that's a steal.
Yeah,
it really is.
But back to the vinyl thing as well is there's actually a retailer. The biggest soul music record seller on eBay is actually based in my hometown, and I'm not too far from where their PO box is.
Nice.
And I really want to be able to contact them and see, because I have no idea how the hell they get there, because I'm not in a major area. I'm in a college town area. I'm not in an area where people listen to soul music and gospel from the 50s.
See, I'm in the exact opposite scenario. I'm in one of the best record digging places in the world, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you are.
I'm directly in between at least 4 to 5 major markets.
Yeah, and that's what.
Yeah, I have so many amazing records all around.
Two words for you. Philadelphia Airport. Done.
Yeah.
So, nope, not doing it. Yep, you lost that one.
Well, actually, you can fly into Newcastle now, which is way easier. So.
All right.
It's a very small airport that has like next to no traffic. But anyway, so sorry about that. Closing out. So.
Sorry, guys. I kind of got it off subject there with the whole NAM thing, but yeah.
Okay. That's okay. So, Mike, Silent Cypher, I'm gonna let you say your goodbyes as well, because I know you're in Germany and it's half past dead asleep time.
Right. Yeah, check out patbangers.com. There will be more tutorials and reviews coming soon. I'm also working on a new machine template, just eliminating the last bugs, and then I will give it out to you guys, and I hope you will enjoy this. It will make
I'll
your...
test that in a few.
What did you say?
I promised I would test it last night, but I didn't get to it, so I'll test it tonight.
Yeah, so it will basically turn machine into a sexy drum machine, just like the TR-8, at least from the handling side of it. So I hope you guys will enjoy this.
Nice.
That's it.
Maybe next week we can do a post-NAM show. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I actually have somebody's back.
Yeah, somebody's got feedback.
I think that's Mike.
It's me. Hold on.
Okay, so
It's not away.
No,
yeah,
it's gone.
So I've been talking with a few different manufacturers, and I've got some insider info that I can't release until NAMM actually happens. So definitely after NAMM, we can talk and I can kind of disclose some of the things that I've been privy to. Which there's lots of this year is going to be huge for a lot of different reasons. So I'm very excited about that.
If they're coming out with the new MV, you gotta let me know beforehand.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, if I signed an NDA on anything, you won't be hearing a peep from me because I'm a big fan of
Yeah, but listen, you and I will have beef if you're withholding information about MV over me.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, everybody from the Producers Hangout knows darn well I'll be the first guy to be the bad guy. So people love to complain about me, to say that I'm a bad guy, whatever. You know what? I'm like Batman.
Your denial of a no seems like I'm right on the spot right now. So that's cool. Thank you for giving me that information without having to say anything.
I didn't say a word, and I didn't.
But your message is loud and clear.
You know what? We're gonna put Orlex right on his. Roy, I'm gonna let you say your goodbyes as well. It was nice having you on the show as well.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure, man. What I would say is I'm working on a couple of stuff at the moment. If you want to hear what I sound like, just go to soundcloud.com/darkjoint. That's DARKJOINT. You can hear some of the stuff that I'm working on. I'm also looking to collaborate. I'm looking more in the electronic genre, and I don't even go into subgenres, but anything electronic, but with more musicianship. So if there's any musicians out there that could play a keyboard or strike a guitar that's really good at what they do and they like what they hear on my SoundCloud, then just hit me up.
Maybe
I'd be
somebody
interested
with
to hear from you. See if we can make some real music.
Yeah, some Glockenspiel.
Yeah, some $35.
Hey, that $35 Glockenspiel, man, sounds really good. I'm gonna have to
I
get
don't
one.
doubt it. I don't doubt it. Especially who has it? So.
And I'm
Okay,
also looking forward to the stuff that's been passing on the Producers Hangout by potentially doing the Producers Hangout album.
Yeah, and about the Producers Hangout album, let me just quickly say, so the moderators, the admins of the Producers Hangout, we're all behind it. Like we're pro for it. I'm not sure how much involvement the admins are going to have on it straight away, because I know everybody's busy and there's a lot of there's just a lot of logistics involved.
Of course,
at this point.
of course.
But I'd definitely be throwing some backing behind it as it progresses and as it kind of gets a little bit more finalized. I can't stay directly over top of it when I have so many other things going on.
Of course. That is a huge undertaking.
Yeah, but I'm 100% supportive, and if I can help out in any way, I certainly will. Like I pop into the chat for it every once in a while to try to kind of get a gist of what's going on and see how I can help out. But I can't focus on it 100%. But I'm definitely going to be making sure that we do what we can to help out.
That would be brilliant. I think it's something that would just tie us all together in one full swoop where, you know, people behind the producers hangout period have a project that they could send to all their friends and relatives and say, go and buy this album. And it would be really be interesting. Sorry,
Yeah,
I didn't
I
get
will
that.
say that as far as that stuff is all concerned, you know, it's you know, as the people who started the group and all, we're really happy to see everybody kind of collaborating and getting together. We do a lot of, and when I say a lot, I mean far more than the members ever see. You know, behind the scenes, trying to keep the group together, trying to make sure that it's a positive environment, trying to make sure people are happy.
That's an
We
understatement.
cannot please everyone. We
Of
all
course.
piss off many people. And like I said before, like we're man enough to take it. You know, we're man and woman enough to be able to deal with the situations that come up. So even though people do get upset, I just want to say that we don't hold grudges against people who even get upset being on there. We just, you know, keep it moving and keep it positive and keep making sure that the community is learning and active. So on that note, let me close out and say that so certainly check out fluxwithit.com because I've got, you know, the synth DIY stuff. We're on like part 4 right now. This is now finally complete to where there will be part 5, 6, and 7 coming very shortly on that. So it's teaching you how to build this box yourself. All in all, the parts to build this thing is like, I want to say it was maybe $100 tops, which is pretty awesome because, I mean, you've got filters, you've got multiple oscillators, delays, all kinds of stuff inside of this. So you can do some really cool stuff. Then, you know, check out the machinewarehouse.com where my latest expansions are up. And, yeah,
That latest expansion.
Mike
That
Vandenberg, architect, did not get to say his goodbye, so let me give it to him. And then
Oh, yeah.
he can sign us out. He can sign us out.
I can. Cool. All right. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. This is a blast. I hope to be on, you know, hopefully next week, because you know, gotta stay on top of, you know, gotta be the best. You gotta act like the best. So I have one project out coming out with my buddy Greg in the next couple of months. Some you know, William One Good Knob made a really good point yesterday about trap music versus, you know, the definition of what we think about. And on kind of on that is that I've taken the classic elements of the Southern hip hop sound and then mixed them with that New York rough and rugged sound. And I've been doing that for quite a while with a couple of my buddies out in Florida. And it's turned out to be one of the dopest sounding projects I actually have ever heard. And you know the boys over at Producers Hangout will get the first looks on that when all that comes to fruition.
Yeah, so that's a good point, is that people need to know that they can go to the Producers Hangout, join in and talk, and there's lots of great discussions on there going on all the time, and we're really happy to see that, as long as everybody stays nice to each other and stays positive and is trying to help each other learn, as opposed to bickering. But yeah, so definitely come join us over the Producers Hangout on Facebook, and that's it for this week, yeah?
I also will be, one more thing, I'll be posting links of said project down at the link that you see right here.
Okay,
I'm like trying to do it from my screen, looking at that, but it's not doing so well. So go there. Go to that .at link, and then you can hear whatever.
All right, well, listen, signing off. You know, everybody stay well, and we will see you post-NAMM with our post-NAMM report. And peace.
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 Bourbon and chicken for everybody.
Bourbon and chicken.
Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.